Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever the hell in the world you are, and welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel, which I never get bored of saying that. It's weird, isn't it? Green screen's appeared, Matt. Green screen's appeared. Anyway, Matt is joining us today. That one. Oh, no, god damn it, mirroring affects me. I'd never be a fighter pilot. That way. Matt's joining us today, and Stormy, that down is easier. Stormy's joining us from across the pond, and young
I'm in the basement.
Harris is here with us as well.
Howdy,
We've
howdy.
got a couple of people in the comments. Hello, Shelley. Hello, Georgie. Never called him Georgie before, but hey, we'll see how that goes. So, guys, how the hell are you? What are you up to?
Doing well.
I'm doing all right, but I have, like I was saying to you a minute ago, I have just found out I've got COVID. So,
And you're dying. So, guys, we'll do what we always do because we haven't really got a topic this week. So, instead, we will just talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. What have you been watching this week? Let's start there. Stormy. Oh, look at that.
Look what I got in the mail.
Isn't that
Hey.
lovely? Oh, that looks really good. I'm really happy with that. Like, that came
Thank
out
you
right.
for that. I really do appreciate it.
Well, it was my little thank you to you. I was going to put the Sidetrack logo on it, and I thought, no, you know what? I won't advertise myself for once. Stormy.
For once.
Hmm?
Yeah. No, I'm doing pretty good. I'm coughing less. I'm
Good.
COVID negative now.
Yeah. He said the C word again. God damn it.
COVID. Oh, that's the yes.
One of them.
I had the Corona croup.
Yeah.
The
I
Corona.
thought a few years ago on YouTube, that would have got us kicked off quicker than what you said a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago. So, what you been watching then, Stormy? How you been? What you been doing?
Well, I watched the first 3 episodes of Andor, and I was mightily impressed.
Yeah. But
Mightily.
no negatives at all?
The only negative was episode 4 hasn't come out. I mean, it was the cast was excellent. The writing, I mean, I was really engaged. I mean, it was a more of a personal story as opposed to some, technology story. You really feel for Cassian and his plight and how he got to be where he is and who he is. And I don't want to give too much away, but it was just.
We'll say early on, there will be spoilers because we're talking about what we've watched this week, so there will be spoilers.
Right, but there are many subplots.
To be honest, I'm interested to talk to you guys, the Star Wars fans, about this because obviously, I'm not as massive a Star Wars fan as you guys. So I just wondered if there were like little background things I would have missed.
Not many. Not many. Mm-mm.
I like a few of the characters keep coming and going. I'm like, am I supposed to know who that is? And I know who Cassian is obviously from the movie, but
I think that's the only person maybe that you should, as far as episodes 1 through 3, I think. I mean, there's no Vader, there's no Luke Skywalker, nothing like that.
Mm-mm. But we'll get some Mon Mothma and some oh my god, Jimmy Smith's character, Senator Organa as well soon. So there will be a couple tie-ins. Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing I was watching is when I got COVID, I said, well, I'm just going to watch all the episodes of Stargate everything. And I finally finished that this last week. Finally finished. I went through Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis and Universe, and I wrapped up Universe 2 nights ago.
Wow.
And I noticed something about the intro to Stargate Atlantis that I have to address. Robert Picardo got robbed. Now, this is a small, tiny, nuanced thing that probably only I would notice. But if you remember the titles to Atlantis, especially the later seasons, they have a picture of the actor, and then it freezes, and then there's kind of a watery wipe that goes across their face. Every actor gets that except Robert Picardo. His character just gets to freeze, but it doesn't get the fancy water effect. And I think MGM needs to fix that. I really do. It just bugs the crap out of me.
Do you want me to go on?
Not exactly.
So I messaged with Malosey about it, and because
yes,
he really likes me. We got on really, really well.
Yeah, that's the one crazy thing I noticed about all that is like, hey, somebody screwed up.
There's a trend here, Jay, with people who created Stargate not liking you.
Brad loves me, I'll have you know. I've spoken to Brad a few times since the mistake.
Yeah, Robert C. Cooper as well. You get the trifecta.
I haven't pissed Robert C. Cooper off yet. But Joseph Malosey annoyed me first, so we had an interesting discussion about climate change.
I saw
turned
that
into a massive argument.
I also, kept up with the latest and greatest of Rings of Power and House of the Dragon. That kind of
all right.
That's it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, have a quick link because then we've got a list of a couple of things we've got to talk about there. We've got to talk about Andor. We've got to talk about dragons and her. But Lord Rings of Power, really, that has kicked up a gear. But Harris, what have you been? I keep pointing the wrong freaking way. Harris, what were you watching? I'm not used to being in this corner. I'm normally over here. But no, that's because there's 4 of us this week. Harris, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been busy. Rings of Power, Andor, House of the Dragon, all that good stuff. Of course, Rick and Morty, keeping up with Rick and Morty. And they had, I know you're not keeping up with it, Jay, but they had the creepiest, not creepiest, I guess, one of the only episodes that I've ever felt icky watching Rick and Morty with last episode. And that's odd for Rick and Morty, But anyway, movie-wise, I've seen Barbarian, Pearl, See How They Run, The Woman King, and then I just saw Avatar re-released, and Don't Worry, Darling.
Good Lord.
So I've been in the movie theater.
Harris, do you have a job at the moment?
I'm an actor. Depends on the day.
Oh, okay, no, so you don't have a job at the moment. Okay, that explains it. So you're researching, doing all this stuff, mate. That's work. You're researching. Yeah.
And I'm having a damn good time while I'm doing it.
You're trying to tell my wife I'm going to do that.
Can you claim your cost of the tickets back on your tax expenses?
Yeah.
I wish. I need to.
I've got a Costa in my living room. There are so many in this country. There's literally Costa on every. If I walk out my front door with my eyes closed, I will 100% trip over a Costa. They're just everywhere. But are they in America?
They're in petrol stations as well now.
Yeah,
they're in the petrol station I was at.
I like the coffee shop that's owned by that NHL guy that does the donuts. They do really nice donuts. Tim something. Anyway, going off topic. Canadian guy.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. I don't know. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I have no idea.
Tim Hortons, is that the
Tim Hortons? There you go. There's
Tim Hortons. Yeah, Tim Hortons is the only thing I can think of with Tim in the name.
Freaking good donuts. Really freaking good donuts. Awful tea, but all of you Americans
with his massive cup.
Yeah, my massive cup. I'm hovering with it. I'm just actually tiny. I'm only that big. Go on then, Matty. What have you been watching, mate? Before we get stuck into all these TV shows, I really want to talk about Andor.
I've not really been watching that much this week, to be honest. I watched Quantum Leap. Watched the first episode of that, and I made a video because I hadn't seen the originals because I'm young, so it was out before I was born. So I never
believe it. He looks like he's in his 40s, but he's actually only 22 years old.
Yeah, I did make a joke about that in the video, so look out for that. I watched the first episode of Rings of Power, and that was pretty good. I quite enjoyed that. I'm not really a Lord of the Rings fan. Like I've watched the movies and then I never went back to them. Like I'm not a diehard fan or anything like that, but I watched it and it's pretty good. Other than that, what have I watched? Big Bang Theory.
He's at it again.
I've watched Big Bang Theory and that's pretty much it. I'm trying to binge through them all. It's
almost sci-fi. They talk about sci-fi a lot in it. The only other thing that, guys, I've watched that you didn't get mentioned there was the newest Lower Decks, which I thought was just as brilliant as all of the other Lower Decks. And I've been off this week, so I've actually watched a fair bit of just nonsense and done loads and loads of videos. You're welcome. But it's just like I just love Lower Decks. I think it's just the best show on telly at the moment. I absolutely love Lower Decks. It's the best Star Trek. It's there with Strange New Worlds for me. I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I really, really enjoy it. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Andor. All right. First of all, something I mentioned in my video that I did on Tuesday about Andor is that I absolutely love that streaming services can now like put 3 episodes out like that, because I mean those 3 episodes really like tied a lovely bow on the like it's the start beginning, if you know what I mean. It's like it's such a lovely little trio of episodes. I found the first 2 episodes a bit boring. I will be honest. I thought they would get going, but by the end of the 3rd episode, you're just like, oh yeah, bring it on. What do you guys think? Well, first of all, what do you guys think about like these streaming services? And because most people hate streaming services, they think they're killing the genre stuff. But I think things like this, dropping 3 episodes and stuff like that, I think that's a big bonus.
I used to have cable. I think last time I had cable was like 200 channels, and I watched 5 of them. A third or even maybe more than that were sports related. I mean, I really don't need 20 channels of hockey, or all the preaching channels that's on here in America. And I was like AMC, Sci-Fi Channel, HBO, and the Weather Channel. That was the things that I watch. But now, I've got maybe 4 or 5 streaming services I pay for, and I get more sci-fi, more fantasy, and they're all better quality productions, and no wrestling. None of the like sci-fi just started running. Years ago, started running wrestling on one night. What? I never did understand that programming switch. So I think I'm getting. I'm also paying 1/3 the price of what I was paying with cable for all the stuff I didn't want to watch. So I think I'm getting a better deal. Plus, I'm getting better content. I'm tickled with streaming services.
And you can watch it whenever you want.
Yeah.
Which is a massive bonus. You don't have to have a terabyte hard drive recording all the crap you're not going to watch.
Yeah. Is TiVo even a thing these days? I don't know.
My Skybox apparently holds about a terabyte, but then every time I try to watch something, it makes me download it. I'm like, no, you say you've got a terabyte. Just remember it, for God's sake.
Terabyte's not that much nowadays, though.
No, but I'm halfway through Stargate Series 4, so that'll be our next review episode. I'm gonna have to remember it. I've just watched my favorite episode of all time.
Oh, what's your opportunity?
In the middle of my backswing. It's just my favorite. I chuckled all the way.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite episode. Just to sit and watch. It's not the best episode by any stretch of the imagination, but to sit, I can watch that over and over and over again, and I absolutely love it. Anyway, Harris, what do you think of streaming services? Just out of interest, mate. Compared to like cable or whatever, they better, worse?
I'm back and forth with them. I love them for certain things, and I dislike them for certain things, I guess. So most of the time, the thing that I dislike about them is dropping a bunch of episodes at once. Sometimes it's necessary with things like Andor, where it's like literally an act 1, 2, 3 for the first 3 episodes, and you need that almost together, which does kind of worry me a little bit about if they're doing 4 different separate 1, 2, 3 acts within these little mini narratives with Andor, that we're only going to get the first act again this week, which might kind of sour people. I doubt it. I hope not, but that's like my only worry, I guess, going into that. But typically I'm old fashioned, and like I want that week to digest what I just watched, and I want to think about it. I want it to be good enough to force me to think about it for a week instead of, all right, on to the next one.
Yeah.
Sometimes a show is not meant for that, though, and it's just an easier way to have a streamer. So I really just think it depends on the medium itself or on the project itself. But typically, I'm a week by week kind of guy.
Well, streaming services have started to do that some shows. It does seem to be, but I was reading an article by the guy that's doing the new Battlestar Galactica TV show, whether it's a reboot or a continuation. Very confusing article. But anyway, he was talking about this, and he was saying the thing he loves about streaming services is halfway through the series they're planning, there's this big battle, but it's a 3-way battle. So what they're basically saying is we're going to dump all 3 episodes that one week, and this is like 2/3 of the way through the series sort of thing, because then you're going to see the same thing from 3 different perspectives dumped all in one hit sort of thing, because it works for the story, and you can't do that on cable. You've just got the week.
Yeah.
You do kind of miss the looking forward to the next episode, you know?
That makes sense a little bit. Kind of like Andor, though. Just if you have that, I mean, everything comes in 3s, especially with film, and that's just kind of it's easy. It's still easy to digest in that way, I guess, because it's 3 different angles of the same thing. I don't know. I like that idea.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do like that. But so I'm 100% with you though. The only thing I really don't like about streaming series is we never get that 22 episode series anymore, ever. They only ever do 10 episodes, and I don't know why, because they could. I know the budgets are different, but why not do? I mean, Disney kind of do with like Book of Boba Fett, don't they? But they're doing like 3 seasons a year. But so you still get like 30 episodes, but it's like I missed those 22 episode series. But anyway, Matty, keep pointing that way. Matty, what do you think about streaming services, bud?
I like them. I prefer having. Shut up. I prefer having a series drop all at once. Although when I grew up, everything that was on TV was see it next week, the week after, week after, week after. I have always been very impatient. Very, very impatient. Back when I was in secondary school, high school, whatever you want to call it, I was watching Heroes. Don't know if any of you watched that.
Yes.
It was on Sky, Sky One, I think, in the UK. And it come out every single week.
It wasn't. It was on BBC One. But anyway, carry on.
Was it on BBC? Or was it Stargate that's on Sky One?
Stargate was on Sky One.
That'll be it then.
But anyway, we'll have this argument later.
But anyway.
That damn water bottle kills me every damn time. It's just huge.
Harris is also tiny. He's only little.
My water bottle makes up half of me.
What his water bottle looks like compared to me.
Yeah. Matt's massive.
Yeah, no. When I was in school, I was watching Heroes. I was always the person who would download it from America because they were always like 6 weeks ahead.
Yeah,
just so I could watch it because I don't like waiting, and that's what I like about streaming. I like it when they drop a few episodes at the very beginning, but really, what I tend to do is I'll wait until they're all out, and then I'll binge them all in one go. Or over a course of a couple of days. I might not watch an entire season in one day because sometimes they are pretty long. Like Stranger Things, for example, some of those episodes were like nearly 2 hours long, so that was not going to happen in a day.
But then, like a series like Cobra Kai comes out, and I smashed through it in like 3 days, and I'm like, oh, I wish there was more Cobra Kai. And I really loved it. I didn't really enjoy the last season. I thought it got a bit boring, but this season I'm just like, yeah, kick his ass, Daniel. I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, I kind of miss the weekly look at, sitting down, waiting for it, the excitement of that. Oh, it's on, come on, sit down. So I manufacture that excitement now. When there's like the last episode, we'll get some popcorn and a bit of drink, and we'll sit down and we'll, as a family or whatever, and watch it. And so I try to manufacture that excitement instead. But I do think it loses something when they just dump it all in 1 week.
I feel like there's so much content out there to watch nowadays. I'm never caught up. Like there's TV shows that I haven't even started yet. So the fact that I can just binge a season and kind of like just enjoy it, and then it's done, and I can wait a year for it for the next one to come out. Yeah. I can start something else. There's always something that I can watch.
Something. Oh my god.
And you never have to wait long for something new. Anyways, it's like, I cannot. Do you remember, like back in the day when it was there was a lot of TV on in the summer months because in the winter months because everyone's at home, so viewing figures went through the roof. So that's when all like the big shows were on. And in the summer months, there wasn't so much. The summer seasons, it was a bit, like sometimes you'd be scrapping around for something to watch. I haven't had that problem for years.
No,
they just don't do it that way anymore, do they? So, but yeah,
there's like 4 to 6 huge shows on right now. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm putting off watching House of the Dragon because I never ended up finishing Game of Thrones. So
don't finish Game of Thrones and just go to House of the Dragon.
Well, I really want to watch House of the Dragon because Matt Smith, and I love Matt Smith. So
it's damn good so far.
With Game of Thrones, to do just what you should always do with Game of Thrones is just not watch the last episode of the series. Just every single time. The last but one episode is always the brilliant episode, and then they have one episode where they're like let's sort of like set shit up for next week, next season, and I'm like, don't bother. So just skip that one. Just watch the one before because it's freaking amazing, and then you don't have the disappointment that the rest of us had with like, I've been watching this for 8 fucking years, and that's how they end it. Thanks, but yeah, no, I'm loving House of Dragon. I think it's great. I think Matt Smith's brilliant. That in the next episode though, everyone's going to jump like 10 years in the future.
I am worried about that just a little bit.
I like the little girl. I liked the queen. I think she was great. The one that's going to be queen. She looks 12 years old. That was my problem, and I didn't like the sex scenes. I have to admit, all the way through, I'm going, nah, she looks like a child. I don't like this. It did creep me out a little bit.
She's like almost a year and a half younger than me.
She's like 23 years old. I
looked it up. I was shocked. Yeah.
I Googled it because it was creeping me out. When Matt Smith was touching her up, and I was just like, oh, I don't like this.
Oh.
It's creepy. But yeah, so get ready for that. All new actors next week. Happy days. Happy days.
That's tonight.
Is it tonight?
That's tonight. 6 p.m. our time. That's what, 8 hours from now? 7.5 hours from now?
We get it Mondays.
Oh.
Damn it.
No.
That pisses me off. We're always just that little behind you guys. Like when Prey came out, and it took me ages to.
At least it's not 6 weeks behind like it used to be.
Yeah. I get that. It's only 12 hours, but anyway.
So
talking about Andor then, because that is. I think somebody in the comments mentioned it a little while ago, that it is Star Wars for properly grown-ups. Star Wars is always for grown-ups, but that seriously. I think I commented in my video that there's definitely a pace to it, and I do wish it would speed up a little bit, but
yes,
that's Star Wars. So Star Wars has always been a bit slow-paced, I think, for me anyway. But then when the action starts, it really kicks off. But that third episode I thought was brilliant. But what do you guys think of the general feeling of the series compared to sort of like the other stuff we're getting? Is it comparable? Stormy, do you think?
I think so. The thing that struck me the most, and this is something I never really thought about, was here you have the Empire, and with all of their technology, all of their prowess, all of their manufacturing capability, you never really do see the ass side of that. You never do see the other side of that, with all in terms of waste and disposable culture and disposable technology. We see Tatooine, and oh my God, I'm grateful that so far there's been no Tatooine, a Star Wars story with no Tatooine. I'm good with that.
I said that. That's pretty much the first thing I said in the video. It's not on Tatooine.
It's not on Tatooine, right?
Y'all,
we won.
Y'all noticed though, right?
Huh?
Y'all noticed they just replaced Tatooine with another Ferrix. Is just another desert planet. It just has a couple more houses on.
Damn it!
And it's like the children that I'm guessing from Canary that were abandoned or orphaned or something. You never see. We see the grittiest it's been is probably we've seen so far has been Mandalorian in terms of how it is. And Mandalorian was one step grittier than Tatooine. And we never really see that. We're seeing a little bit more, I think, of the corporate culture or the corporatization of government in Andor. And these are fresh things I haven't seen really before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the constabulary was an interesting little twist. I commented on that as well. We're seeing like a little bit more detail on how the Empire, particularly early on, actually got its got control and took over control, and they seem to have done it through money. It was basically we invaded India. That's basically what the British did. We didn't actually go in with an army. We just sort of like went in with some money and went, "Would you like to be British?" And they went, "Yeah, that'd be lovely, thank you."
Yeah.
A few Maharajas sort of went, "That's great. I'm going to call my children Peter from now on." I'm like, "Great, brilliant." And that's how we didn't really. We just out organized them. But what about you, Harris? I'm thinking, like, say, this series does to me feel like it fits in with the movie. It's the style and everything is very much supposed to blend into the film, but does it fit with the rest of Star Wars?
That is a good question, because it almost feels
everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's almost. I've heard a lot of people say it's almost Blade Runner-y in Star Wars, and it does almost feel like a different version of sci-fi tossed into the Star Wars universe. But I don't think it detracts from that at all. I think it still has a good foothold there while expanding upon things. It really does feel like Rogue One, which makes me really happy because it depends on the day whether I'm an Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, which one I'm like more of a fan of. Because I mean, Return of the Jedi is not as good of a film, but I'm a soft spot for it. You know, I love it. But Rogue One is. I'm not the biggest fan of all the Disney stuff necessarily. I love all their animation and stuff, but Rogue One is a lot of the time maybe one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Star Wars film. So this
is excellent.
It's just so well made on every single level. I love it. I can't believe the crew got split up and the whole production fiasco a little bit happened at the tail end there because they still managed, you know. But I'm glad they got Gilroy back for it because you can feel him in the essence of the series so far, and it's more serious because of it. And I don't know. At the moment, I like it because it is adding a level to Star Wars because you can still feel that foothold there. So it's still Star Wars, but it's one of the first times I feel like the galaxy is expanding without like truly just world building. And you get that character development while
the Blade Runner link blew my mind actually because I think about particularly in the first episode when he's walking down all those raining streets and I think that was that's Blade Runner. That's really blown my mind. What do you guys think about and Matt? Why can Disney do a good Star Wars TV series, but they can't seem to do a good Star Wars movie other than Rogue One?
Time.
Okay.
They have a lot of time on series to flesh out a story, but they don't have a lot of time to flesh out the plot on a movie. So they try to rush things.
The first trilogy.
Yeah, because George Lucas is infinitely better than anyone at Disney.
Can't really argue.
Like that's how I think of it. I think they can do really good stories. Like Disney has always been good at storytelling, but when it comes to Star Wars, I just don't think they know how to do it with the movies. They know how to do it with TV because they've got like 10 episodes to like flesh it out and make us invested in the characters and actually want to watch the next season that comes out. But with the movies, they just rush things so much that we often feel like that was crap. I don't want to watch the next movie. Or they do something that it just doesn't make any sense.
I think you can take more risks with a TV series as well because you've got 10 episodes. And if you do something that's a bit like with bugger. What was the middle of the last trilogy film? The
Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. Well, they almost made it like a comedy. And there's quite a lot of humor in it. And I still cannot get over the whole bit. I generally just wanted to stand up and just throw things at the TV, but the TV cost a lot of money, so I didn't. But it's just like, that was shit. But I actually quite liked the new trilogy. I loved them. I thought they were great. They're much better than the Clone Wars and all that trilogy. But obviously they don't compare to the originals. So there's nothing.
Yeah, I feel like with The Last Jedi, a lot of the things that people didn't like the fact they basically changed the Force for the sake of the plot. If that was on a TV series and they had a lot more time to flesh it out and actually have some sort of explanation as to why that's happened. Because Luke's been on that island now for like, what, 30 years or...
We've lost Matt.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, he's frozen.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, he wasn't. He was boring me anyway. So, what do you guys think?
Well, when we get Matt back, there's one thing I watched that I just did not like. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about if we had like $1 billion budget, what all would we fund? And one of the things I asked about was Tom Swift, which was a set of children's books back. Oh man, starting in the 30s, I think, is based on a kid along with the Hardy Boys kind of theme, but he was a scientist. His dad was a big scientist.
Right.
Hey, I would love to see a Tom Swift show. Now that was what I was going to spend some of my budget on. Well, turns out, I think like one of you guys mentioned, there was one on the CW. So I went to go watch episode 1, and I should have been shot in the head instead. I was not prepared to see a gay hip-hop version of Tom Swift. I mean, he lived in rapper mansion. He had rapper cars. He had rapper sneakers. And all of that really detracted from, his dad got killed, and so there was supposed to be this relationship, if in the original books, Tom Swift had a really good relationship with his dad. Well, here it starts off with him and his dad can't stand each other, or there's all this rift between them, and then dad goes off to Jupiter and he dies. And so, it was
it sounds awful.
So if you get a chance, try 30 minutes of it. And it was on the CW, which
expectations.
There's a lot of things on CW that go on for seasons, and this got canceled within just a few months.
Yeah.
For the CW, that says it all. Oh, look, it's Matt. He's back.
Did you thought, Matt?
Walt Disney DC'd me.
How much did you hear?
Can't remember. I stopped listening halfway through, to be honest, mate. I was looking at the wall.
I was just talking, then all of a sudden all these swirly things started happening, and I'm like, oh god. Anyway, what was I even saying?
Something about Andor. I don't know. No, it was about the Star Wars.
We were talking about. I was talking about The Last Jedi and the fact that they basically changed the Force. Yeah. If they'd done that in a TV series and had, say, 10 episodes to flesh out why they've changed the Force. Luke has been on this island now for 30 odd years. He's studying the Force with all these scrolls and all that crap. Like, that could have been explained way better rather than, the Force is now changed and he can now project himself 1,000,000 miles. Like, it could have been way better. And I don't think people would have been pissed off if it was in the TV series.
Does the serious question now, are streaming series, when they're done properly like this, are they better than movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, for my opinion is, okay, so I've got a warped opinion about movies, that I go to the theater. A lot of people go to the movies and they only want to see, if it's more than 90 minutes, it was a long movie. See, I want to pay my $10 or whatever and go see a 3-hour movie because I'm getting more minutes per dollar. So right. So, if I get 10 hours of a story, that's thumbs up. But if it's, this is just me in my, thinking of the economics of time, and I don't know. It's just the series.
So did you watch Kenobi?
Yes.
So that was originally written as a film, and it was supposed to be 3 films. And to expand it, they turned it into a TV show, and they capital watered that down. I feel like Lucasfilm does better with films, unless it's animation. Animation with Lucasfilm, I think they're I don't know, their thought process is different, and they do that in a whole different way.
I mean, Bad Batch was wonderful, I thought.
It was slow in a couple episodes, but it's the first season, and the whole Camino arc was fantastic.
Oh, yes. I mean, and the whole Camino arc was so important to like tons of
Star
other
Wars.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pivotal part of Star Wars now. And that I will, to segue back into Andor a little bit, that I think is one of the most interesting parts of Andor so far. Of course there's little pocket rebels going on probably at this point in the Empire and all that kind of stuff, but did the true obviously Cassian's going to be brought into, I guess, a larger rebel organization, but a good chunk of the rebellion started because of two guys that got shot on a brothel in the middle of a street. Doesn't sound too bad. I like it a little bit. It adds that almost like childlike wonder while still keeping it a little more adult-like in Star Wars.
Yes, shot in front of a brothel. Kid-like wonder.
Well, the kid-like wonder of
Disney.
this all started from two dead guys. But no, exactly. Brought us to brothel, and then the same guy said shit a couple minutes later. First real cuss word in Star Wars.
Sorry.
I love the yes, I love the realism. I love the like sort of the police, even though that chief constable, wherever he is, he's a weaselly little turd of a human being. I can't stand that guy. I know you're not supposed to like him, that's the point, but cowardly little twerp. But I love how real it feels. I love how it's gritty. I think I commented in my video this is if you actually take the aliens out of this is like one of those really good like Nordic murder mystery shows that everyone gets mad excited about, and then the BBC or somebody will remake it a couple of years later and make it not as good. It's one of those Scandinavian, like dramas. And it's like you take the aliens out, and it's a pretty good, it's a good drama. The pace and everything's similar as well.
Yeah.
But obviously then there's somebody will fly past on a floating motorbike, speedster, whatever. I thought Andor was really good. I actually really, really enjoyed it, more than I thought I would. But I have to admit, by the end of the second episode, I was like, something needs to happen soon. But then it did. So happy days. I had this mate actually years ago who said he had this theory about Star Wars, and he said that he wasn't sure the rebellion were actually the good guys. I was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, the Empire is really well funded, really well supported, and really well organized. And then there's like, out of a population of hundreds of billions, there's like 50 people that turn up and like have a rebellion. Surely, if they were the good guys, wouldn't they be better supported than that? And I was like, yeah, shit, maybe they're the bad guys. And they all seem to be criminals. They're all bloody like, drug dealers and things in the rebellion.
Yeah.
It's essentially a terrorist cell, isn't it, really?
Technically,
yeah.
Legally, yeah.
Would you like to buy some death sticks?
Yeah. I'm not so sure. And Han Solo was 100% a drug dealer. So, but
same thing. Weren't the Separatists kind of the good guys in the prequels? Not really not the Republic was just screwing everybody over the entire time.
Yeah. Different type of government screwing, but the Empire then did build like Death Stars. I don't think the Republic ever did that. They just taxed everyone to death. There's difference between taxing to death and building a really big gun that can shoot you across the galaxy.
The rebels built the tax star. It just comes down and extracts all of your wealth.
Honestly, at that point, just fucking shoot me. Oh, excuse me. just shoot me at that point.
Isn't the reason that the Death Star was built originally, like before Disney decanonized everything, because there was like some invasion going to happen?
Some invasion.
Maybe.
Like after the events of Return of the Jedi. So before Disney got their hands on it. The original story had some sort of invasion, and the Emperor was essentially leading up to that.
It was showing that he had really good foresight. That he was like,
was this the enemy from outside of the galaxy? Sorry,
yeah. I don't know much about it because I've not read. I've just books, read little bits, but
yeah. Well, it was clearly under development before Palpatine became Emperor.
It's got
because the plans are already finished. When we first see everybody on Geonosa.
Yeah.
And something that large has got, unless they're using AI engineering, something that large takes some time to build.
Yeah, but they didn't engineer it very well, though, did they?
It was bad AI.
Exhaust ports, torpedo-sized exhaust ports. It just seems like a bad idea. I still love that video. I watch it every so often. The space wizards. You know that the guy that's he's there. He's the engineer, and he's in front of people. Well, why didn't nobody tell me about space wizards? Well, I was designing the damn thing, and it's an exhaust port. That means stuff is going out. How did the torpedo get sucked in? Oh yeah, that's right. Space wizards.
Space wizards.
So what else did we watch this week? So we got Andor. We enjoyed that. House of the Dragon. Just talk about that very briefly, because like I say, we said it's going to jump 10 years ahead. Other than Matt Smith, though, in that series, is there anybody that's even remotely likable or memorable?
Oh, Millie Alcock as Rhaenyra has been.
Yeah, he said cock.
Alcock. No, but yeah, no. She's been excellent in that show, honestly. I do worry a little bit going into the new episode with all the
changes.
Yeah, all the I do like Emma Darcy, I think is her name. That's going to be replacing her. I've seen her in one thing on Amazon Prime, Truth Seekers, which is that Nick Frost funny.
That was great. I love that.
I've seen half of it. I need to finish it, but it's great.
Good. I wish they got a season of that. It was brilliant.
She's that girl. She's the main girl in there. So I mean, their casting department's amazing. So it's got to be good.
Yeah, I'm kind of really going to miss Millie Alcock. I got to admit.
He said cock. Everyone's saying cock. So it makes me laugh.
Millie Alcock.
My mother's maiden name was Alcock. So that always makes me laugh. That might be related to it.
So you need a cameo. That's what I was about to say, you know?
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know. What did you think why they've done it like that, though, with this, like, the first 5 episodes with, like, these complete... And then they've jumped years already in this series. Why are they doing it?
Well, technically, where the book starts, we're already, like, 100 years past where the book starts. They could have started this 100 years prior. They just kind of picked us... It's almost like... Fire, it's not truly comparable, but like Fire and Blood is similar to J.R.R. Tolkien's Silmarillion. In a way, not in a lot of ways, but in certain ways where it's more of a.
You were going to set Stormy off then for a second.
I know. I saw it. I was like, That's what I said in a way. It's got the bullet points of history, and that's about
it. He agrees. But I think so. What do you think, Matt? You've only watched the first episode, didn't you? Did you say
House of Dragon? I've not seen any.
You've not seen it at all. God,
I watched the first episode of
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power,
which we'll talk about that in a minute because I love the last episode. But I still think it's better than. I'm still enjoying House of the Dragon more than I'm enjoying Ring of Power. I'm afraid. But
that last episode might be a little bit of a tipping point for me, though.
Would you say you can jump into House of Dragon without having seen, like, let's say, the last 4 seasons of Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah, it happened hundreds of years prior.
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I'll start watching it then.
Yeah, it is excellent. Okay, then so Ring of Power, right? So that obviously we yelled a lot at people that had decided they hated this series before it started. That did my head in. We won't talk about woke because I got in trouble last time I talked about woke. So, but that was the argument. And the first couple of episodes were a bit dull. I think it's fair to say. But I enjoyed them, but I did find myself wandering off. Sort of like, I was going to make a cup of tea and I didn't bother pausing it. I just went and had a cup of tea, knowing by the time I got back, nothing would have happened. Lenny Henry turned up. That was about it. But the last episode, the 4th episode, oh my Christ, did a lot happen. I had to not only could I not wander off to have a cup of tea, a couple of times I had to rewind it to watch the bit again to make sure I understood what they were saying, because it's very clear that it was going to be very, very important for the whole series. That awe stuff, and I had to rewind that twice. What did you guys think of it? Just generally, what pulled you out of the episode? And obviously, Matt, you'll have to just tell us what you thought of the first episode. Go on, guys. What did you think? Harris, go on.
Well, okay. So, can I start with the question? I might start with the question. Okay, just to get it out of the way, I think Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power has it's definitely getting to it where it's pretty damn good. But I wouldn't say it's woke in any way, and that's all I will say about that. It's proven. It's telling a narrative, it's telling a story, and it's not trying to push anything, which is good. But if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, would you have kept watching this show after the first 3 episodes with their pacing and how slow it was and not really all that much happening?
Yes. Yes.
I'm iffy there. I don't know if I could actually answer that, just because it is Lord of the Rings. And that's kept me in. Episodes 4 and 5 have been phenomenal. Episode 5 almost makes me say I like Rings of Power more than Dragon for where we are, just because I know this battle's here, but the battle's also coming with House of the Dragon. So they're almost equal to me at this point. But I don't know if I would like the first 3 of the 5 episodes we've gotten with Rings of Power as much if it wasn't Lord of the Rings.
Well, I'm not a fan of. I said it earlier. I'm not a massive fan of Lord of the Rings.
That made me happy.
I went into it just because it looks like the kind of TV show I would watch, and I'm enjoying it. So, if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, if it didn't have Lord of the Rings plastered on the title, and I didn't know it was Lord of the Rings, I would still like it.
Good. Yeah.
So,
okay, it's doing its job then.
Harris, I'm with you. I'm not sure.
But
that would have done because of the production value.
That's where the question alone is.
Made.
We know they spent $1 billion. That's how you spend your $350-400 million on your first 3 episodes. I just don't know if that. I like it. I don't love it. I like it, but I don't know if that's a proper way of spending that type of money. For the type of IP and everything that it is. We should be where we're at now on episode 2.
I mean, that's true, but if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, it'd been $250 million cheaper.
Also true.
Very
There's
true.
Factors everywhere.
And we could have gotten a decent Tom Swift.
that is
a good mom with a good dad and son story, but okay, fine.
They'd have been looking at 600 million instead of $1 billion, wouldn't they? Which is it's still ridiculous. But you've got to remember as well, though, this $1 billion they keep throwing around, that money is going to be trickling through almost the entire series. A lot of that investment, they've spent a lot of money in the beginning, sort of thing. It's $250 million a season is still a lot of money, or $200 million a season is still quite a lot of money, but it's not as ridiculous as what some people have been suggesting, are we? The new Last Airbender series that Netflix are doing, they're spending $15-16 million an episode.
Oh, yeah.
On The Last Airbender. And other than a cartoon that was brilliant, that has bombed at least twice. So Netflix better know what they're doing on that one. So, what did you think, Stormy? It's like if you watch, when it gets to the 4th episode, that makes me then look back at the first 3 episodes and then go, actually, it was a bit boring. It's all of a sudden it's almost like it proves that I was right to think, but this is getting better, sort of thing. Would you agree with that?
Definitely, in the later episodes, things picked up, and I think what's coming. Well, there was. Excuse me. There was so much to cover. I mean, you have the whole story. I mean, there's. God, how many lines of stories going on? I mean, you have the Harfoots, you have the Stranger, you've got the plight of Asteria, you've got all of these things, and it's converging on something. And so it's like the first of any kind of series. It takes time to get you informed on what all the characters are. And I think this story is so complex. I mean, if anyone's just read the Silmarillion, you understand this is much more complex than something like The Hobbit or Fellowship of the Ring. Really, really complex story. And so, but yeah, I mean, the payoff, the 2 or 3 episodes in the beginning, the payoff in the episode 4 and 5 is tremendous, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. There's an awful lot in this series to set up and to get going. A lot of somebody said to me, goes, no, Lord of the Rings is the setup. I'm like, no, this is 6,000 years before it.
And like I said before, there's a lot of material to cover.
Yeah.
Do you just have those with you all the time?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Carries them to work with them and
Just
everything.
in case someone brings up Lord of the Rings, you can pull them out.
I just slide them over and just say you're wrong. Because
Then if anybody tries to rob you, you've got a massive stat of mob them out.
right,
I need to be armed to just throw my gun.
You've got full projectiles.
right, yeah. Oh, really? You think you're breaking in my house? Well, here's Morgoth's ring, jackass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard of chanclas, and here comes Stormy with some Lord of the Rings books.
But I tell you what, I'm actually getting a little bit excited. I think the main thing is after the first 3 episodes, I wasn't like excited for the next episode. I wasn't like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen now. After this last episode, I'm like, I am actually looking forward to. I think is it Thursday? I'm looking forward to the episode coming out because I really want to see.
You've seen the 5th episode, right?
It's the 5th episode, isn't it?
I believe
it is
5th episode is the latest.
So the 6th
When Faden
episode.
pops up, the guy that looks like young Eminem.
I thought that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's the new one.
this.
So that's a whole new segue to come in there, you know?
I was going to ask you guys who the Eminem guy was actually, because again, am I supposed to know who that is?
Who? I think they're trying to make us ask: is he Sauron? Who Sauron? But who is Halbrand? Sauron is Adar. I don't think is Sauron. I don't think. Who knows? I don't. There's my brain can go every different way, you know.
I thought it was an elf at first, but then it's not, is it? He's
like
poking the thing. I thought it was an elf.
Yeah, a lot of the really hardcore fans, they're thinking, he could be one of 3 people, you know, and a lot of, excuse me, a lot of the characters in this are in the books. They have kind of a minor role that set up other parts of the story, and we're wondering if he's one of those. But it's definitely, some people think he's Sauron, some people not. It's and they think that whoever that guy is, that person is, it greatly depends who they are. Greatly depends on who the stranger is. Is the stranger one of the Blue Wizards, or is it?
It seems like it's Gandalf. It seems like they're setting up Gandalf with him a little bit.
The Blue Wizard, you mean now, or whoever that wizard is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stranger. Yeah.
Who we can't call a wizard. We're not allowed to call him a wizard, are we? But okay. I love the wolves scene. I did like the wolf scene when the little things are hiding in the tree and he just goes. Oh, that's pretty cool.
I saw an odd theory about it. Someone said those 3 wolves worked a little too in tandem, and Stormy, you might know more about it because I don't know where werewolves are involved within Middle Earth at all. But apparently, those 3 elves, the Slim Shady, the Eminem-looking kid, could turn. They might be werewolves. I guess I don't know. I don't know if that turns into Tom Bombadil kind of territory or what. But
okay. There was lots of what Tolkien would have called fell creatures, you know, around Middle Earth. You know, wargs were one of them because the orcs rode them. There was all sorts of things, you know. Tolkien would just write poetry about things that would kind of fit in Middle Earth. One was the mulips, the poem about the mulips and how treacherous they were in the dark. And so, I mean, they could have been, you know, these wolves. I don't think werewolves, but they were shape changers. You know, Bjorn was a shape changer. He went
Bjorn, there we go.
From big guy to angry flying bear, which was the best thing ever. You know.
Okay. Oh, that works. That's the thing, isn't it? There's so much material for them to explore in this. They're going to keep us guessing, and so they should. So yeah, we'll see.
Oh my God, you know, keeping us guessing. That's a really good point, because if you ever read some of the hardcore, you know, Discord servers, I mean, oh my God. Well, in this book, it mentions something on page 87 in paragraph 3. Could that be alluding to some other? And they go on for, until the next week. I mean, it's just.
Oh, man. I don't think I'm an expert in anything to the degree yourself, Stormy, and other people are experts in Tolkien.
Oh,
I mean, I consider myself a Trekkie, and I do not go into the detail you guys do.
And I'm not, compared to a lot of these other guys that are really hard, I am nowhere near that. I'm not in the 1% geekhood that these. I mean, they are. Oh my God, they have no other life. They don't have a life at all outside of Tolkien.
Just pull all your books.
All
those bloody books tend to suggest you might have no life. It's Tolkien. It's not. I say I love it, but I don't love it to that degree. I gotta say, but hey, I'm excited about the next episode though. So that's the bonus then. Yeah, you screwed all your camera up there, mate. It's a Hobbit. Well done. It looked like a killed kids version.
Yeah, I found it. I didn't buy it.
He found it. It was a doorstop, right?
I was working in like a shopping center, and it was in a plant pot, and I was like, ooh, okay.
I thought you were going to say I was in a shopping center and it was in a Waterstone, so I just sort of took it. But no, mate, that's theft. That's shoplifting, but that's not. I just saw this leather.
I wonder why that security guard.
Nobody was wearing it, so I just took it.
Just took it.
Yeah, just took it, man. So, what else have anybody watched this week before we call it an evening? Guys, anybody in the comments who've seen anything you got particularly excited about, or is there anything you're looking forward to?
Quantum Leap. I know you've seen the first episode.
I haven't. I have not seen the episode. Actually, what have you guys seen the Quantum Leap yet? Is it any good?
Have not seen it.
Not seen it yet. So maybe next week we'll be able to have a conversation about that. Okay. I'm worried about it.
It's all right. It's all right.
Why didn't they? I've never seen the original series, but why didn't they get? Is it Scott Bakula? What's his name?
Scott Bakula, yeah. But Sam Beckett.
Sam Beckett.
Yeah.
Why did he never get back? Why did he never save him? They basically suggested that actually he was like on a mission from God. So he did have an opportunity to escape, but it would have meant somebody that was trying to help would have suffered. So he just kept going. So, okay. But yeah, they suggested. No, actually, I don't even think they suggested. I think he actually met somebody that basically said, "This is meant to be you're meant to be here." So, Rodrigo, we talked about Andor at the start of the video, mate. So just rewind it when we're done. We talked about it for about 20 minutes. There have been issues with Quantum Leap, though. I think Kevin just said actually Scott Bakula had a dispute. There was issues towards the end of the original series of Quantum Leap. They were going to have another series, but Scott Bakula wasn't happy about his deal and things. But in this series, they did want to bring him back and for it to be a continuation, and apparently Scott Bakula refused. He didn't want to come back, so they've had to do a hard reboot because Scott Bakula refused to appear in it. And nobody quite knows why. There's loads of contradictory stories on why. So it's a bit of an odd one. Because it would have been so easy just to do a continuation. It would have been really easy.
I think it is a continuation.
Oh, is it set up? I was going to ask you, actually, is it set up like a continuation? Because
it is set up like a continuation because they speak about Beckett.
Yeah.
Getting trapped and how he never made it home. And the first episode is essentially... See, I never watched the originals. Did they have like an AI supercomputer in the originals?
Yes, a Ziggy.
Yeah. Ziggy. Yeah. So, in the first episode, the new guy Ben, who is essentially the new Sam Beckett, for some reason jumps into the Quantum Leaper without any explanation. Like no one knows why. He changed the algorithm. He jumped in, and now we're just following the journey.
Okay, so we'll find out why he's done it at some point.
But everything that happened before has happened. So it's a continuation.
It is a continuation. Because one of the rumors was they were going to do that it would be his daughter because he had a child while he was in the leap. So it was Sam, but he was in someone else's body, if you know what I mean. He had a child, and that daughter then now worked at Quantum Leap. She worked at
there was mention of a woman who was someone's daughter.
Right, so we think that's Sam's daughter, but also
I don't know if it's Sam's, because I don't think they said Sam. But I think the guy who died, Dean something. Is it
Dean Stockwell was the actor. Yeah, he died. Yeah.
Stockwell. Yeah, I think the character, was he in the original series?
Yeah.
Or was he like?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's his daughter.
He was the Project Observer. Was that his title? Project Observer.
Yeah, I think it's his daughter.
He would advise Sam and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I think it's meant to be his daughter, but I've not seen. I've not. You've not actually seen
the hologram door. Do they still have the door?
Seen her? The what?
The hologram door. So when I can't remember Dean Stockwell's character's name in the series. That's horrible. I can't remember it. But anyway, he would come through and a door would open and he'd sort of like stumble through like he was doing something else. Like he's like, oh hello. And he'd have that little control panel thing that beep, 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 boop, boop.
On the side of the Quantum Leaper, they kind of just appear.
Yeah.
They just fade in.
Oh, well.
So.
Well, I'll look forward to that when it comes over here in the UK. So anytime in the next 6 months, we should get that. Because we're back.
Y'all are going to kill me, but the most familiar I am with Quantum Leap is the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Scott Bakula Bakula or whatever his name is pops up as the janitor in that one little place and starts singing that song. Oh, it's have you seen that episode where the gang gets turned into?
Yeah.
The whole episode.
Oh my God.
I wonder if Quantum Leap was the last of the really great TV shows that had just brilliant opening sequences, just like the music. There's a thing going around on Facebook, and it says, my mom says photos can't speak or can't make noise. And then it's a picture of Airwolf. And everybody of my generation immediately goes, in our brains. Because that was just iconic. A-Team, Knight Rider, all these shows, they just have iconic music. And I just don't think shows do anymore.
Game of Thrones is really the only one in recent memory that has like that iconic kind of thing to like really remember.
Yeah, it is dramatic starting, but I couldn't sing it to you. But all the Airwolf ones, go and watch the opening sequence to Airwolf. Terrible TV show. If I don't ever watch, you Stormy, you'll know these two whippersnappers have no clue. But I'd go back and watch. I can watch Knight Rider, and that's not too bad. I can watch the A-Team, and that's okay, but oh god, it's a bit cheesy. I can't watch Airwolf. It's so camp. It's unbelievable. It's just unwatchable. They could have done
such amazing things with that idea, and they chose not to. I mean, it was just literally bad.
Yeah, it was not a good show. I loved it when I was a kid, but I mean, I watched it back. So I wonder if it really was as good as I remember. No, it wasn't. It was bloody awful. But Knight Riders, some of the episodes of Knight Riders still good. But yeah, it's just like don't go back and watch the original 1980s Thundercats. That's also terrible. He-Man from back then, terrible. But I loved it when I was a kid. Anyway,
better than the new stuff, though, huh?
Sorry, bud.
Is it better than the new stuff at least? Because people don't like the new stuff. No.
So I think the new stuff might be a little bit, but the new He-Man was very much done in the style of the original He-Man, so that's why it's actually a bit shit. Because it's done like a 1980s cartoon, and it's very much the same style. So if you watch that and then watch the 1980s cartoon, you can go, that's why he did it. Kevin Smith was being a little bit too clever for his own good there, really. So he tried to do something that felt like the original, and it did come across a bit shit. But at least He-Man was in a couple of episodes towards the end, which was good.
Well, that's good.
My screen just changed. That's weird. Right, anyway, guys, so let's call it a day. I'm going to go have my dinner. It's in the oven. Yum, 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 yum.
Go have dinner.
Yeah, and I'm horribly hungover, so I'm just at that stage where now I really need to eat. So I
got a quick question for you guys.
God damn it, every fucking week. I mean,
got a quick question. So I just finished my all-encompassing Stargate binge watching. I'm done with that. What should I start on? What's the next thing that I should start on that I don't know about?
Just watch Stargate again.
What are you feeling?
I don't know. I mean, do I start on X-Files?
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
X-Files is great. You get to around season 6 or 7, it goes off the rails for a couple of seasons, but it does come back. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I was thinking
watch
that, or
something by Brad
Farscape,
Wright.
or
If you want to watch something by Brad Wright, Travelers is good.
I disagree with you.
Oh my God!
How did you disagree with me? Travelers is amazing.
No, I thought I really wanted to like it, but I didn't.
Oh, you need to watch it again. You didn't watch it right.
I had the TV over there and I was over here. Damn it! I was just like, I've got a drinking problem. I've got a TV watching problem. Yeah. I only got about 4 or 5 episodes in. Did I need to stick to it? Did I?
Yeah, like I loved it from the off, but it gets way better as it goes on.
Okay, I'll give it another try at some point, maybe. I'll tell you what I'm watching at the moment. I'm rewatching Babylon 5. And,
there's another good choice.
Yeah, so that was me.
So it begins.
Well, before he makes a new series and probably ruins it, I thought I would get a lot of comments. Right? So I would love to know what you guys think about this. Get a lot of comments going, well, they're going to do this new version of Babylon 5. It'll ruin the original. How? How can it ruin the original? Like, you get a lot of that with Stargate as well. Well, they'll make new Stargate, but it'll be terrible and it'll be woke and it'll be rubbish and it'll ruin Stargate for me. Why? The original's still there.
Yeah.
If they make a new series, if it's no good, just go back and watch the original.
Just when I was rewatching Stargate Universe, I really wanted. I could have done another season if somebody would have just gotten around to shooting Telford in the face. I mean, I thoroughly disliked that character. I just really did.
The problem with Universe was the characters for me. Eli was the only likable character in the whole damn.
It's. I actually liked Rush certainly has its issues, but I liked him as a character. It was like, he had such distrust of everybody else. It made him look squirrely, and many times he was, because the Colonel. Oh God.
Telford, Colonel Telford.
Not Telford, the other one, the one that was a drunk on that was drinking.
Oh yes, I do know his name.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you, Matt.
Young. Yeah, thank you. He was a terrible leader. How did he? I mean, terrible leader. He was awful, and it was just and I'm wondering. Well, is that one reason why Rush was so secretive throughout everything? Is because he didn't. I mean, Rush already has trust issues, and was that the reason why? Because he knew who Young was, and that was one reason why he kept a lot of things to himself, because Young commanded all the guns.
Yeah.
And evidently there was a big schism on the ship because they had an uprising, a civilian uprising against the military.
I think Rush could definitely see Young was going through some sort of internal conflict.
Yeah.
And that probably did add to his let's make the civilians in charge.
I did a video on it a couple of days ago, and I was just about if we went back and saved Eli. But I said, look, this is how I would do it, and it's just my idea. But basically, I killed everybody. I just said all the pods broke down, and we would see little flashbacks of Eli trying to save them, but he just couldn't. The Destiny was dead, just floating between the two galaxies. It never made it. And we just about saved it. And everyone said it was too dark. And I was like, no, I thought it was good. But from my point of view, I was doing
that would fit Star Universe's theme very well.
Yeah, I thought so.
It was a very dark show anyway. But
also, I thought, are we going to be able to get those actors back? Because I can know 2 or 3 have gone on to other big projects, and there's no chance they're coming back. You could probably get Young back, because I think he's done a few big things, but I don't think he's in anything major at the moment. But other than that,
I've only seen him in like one episode of Breaking Bad, and that was it, I think.
Well, there you go. So He did SWAT for a couple of years, and he did something else as well.
It was in Travelers.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, allegedly, season 3 of Universe is in comic book form because it left everything hanging and it didn't get picked up again for a third season. There's a 5-issue, I think it's 5 issues or something, of what happened to Eli and all of that. And I'm dying. I've read synopses and they really don't make that much sense.
I'll dig. I've got an electronic.
I know that I can tell you the story. Let's tell you what happened.
I know the story. Yeah. A load of builders wake up basically. So there's pods on the ship. I haven't read this in years, so you're gonna have to help me out, Matt, a little bit. But basically, there's pods from the builders of the Destiny, and they wake up. And then so Eli's already sorted the power issue out, hasn't he? So they've got enough power so they can get to the thing.
He sorted out some sort of power.
He was draining it off the FPL curtain, wasn't he, that surrounds the ship?
Yeah, but that inadvertently opens up more pods that they hadn't discovered, and that's where the engineers come in, the original builders of Destiny.
Yeah.
The reason that they're on the ship is because Destiny left when they were on it. They weren't meant to be there, but they just went into stasis. They wake up. They basically they're not happy that
they try and take the ship.
That we're there. They try and take the ship back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only two. There's only 2 issues. It literally.
Yeah, it was 2.
At the end of the first issue, we find out that these people on board. And then they have a conversation. They pretty much whack, what's his name? Matthew Scott, in the back of the head, have a little conversation, and then that's it. You never hear anything from it. But the one thing that we do get from it that I really love is the communication stones. There's a little throwaway comment they make, and it's, "Oh, we use those as children's toys."
Yeah. I like that bit as well.
Beyond that, there's nothing else ever happens. We never find out anything.
Yeah, it was 2. I always thought it was just supposed to be the opening 2 episodes covered. Really, it wasn't the whole series. But Joseph Malozzi said that they did have the whole series mapped out. They knew where they were going with it, and apparently they only found out they were getting cancelled as they were about to film the last 2 or 3 episodes. So that's why that's why we never really got an end, because they just didn't have time to do something. So they just reworked that last bit so it felt like a conclusion or something. But I think they hoped they might get a TV movie out of it, and they were still talking about that apparently, but obviously it never happened. So, okay then, guys.
This all happens in Stargate.
This all happens in Stargate, yes, Harris. Yes. Mate, in about 5 years, when you get to Stargate Universe, you'll look back on this video and know exactly what we were talking about.
Hey, I'm on a good pace now. It might only take 3.
What you need is a hot case of COVID, and then you can do it all. That's what I've proven. You get a hot case of COVID, you can do it all.
Harris, come closer to the camera.
It might be airborne. It's techno-born at this point.
Something. Stormy got it, and then I got it, and now Matt's got it. Dude,
Harris, I'm driving down to your house.
You're next. You're getting.
Hey, Harris, you know what? We need to get together because you're just on the other side of the mountains from me.
Yeah, no, that'd be a great idea.
I don't know, go to jail together or something.
It's always a good time. I've never been out in California, but we might as well try. There's a first time for everything.
Or you could come up here, visit me, and I can show you some of the crazy secret petroglyphs.
Oh, he's doing lots of videos about the petroglyphs.
Secret petroglyphs.
Secret ones.
I'm in. I just tell me a time and a day, and I'll come that way.
Yeah, he hasn't got a job.
Deal.
Yeah, right now I'm always good. Just let me know.
So, and then me and Matt were talking about this the other day because he only lives about 20 miles from me. So we're going to do we'll have a meetup video at some point shortly.
We should, me and you meet up, you and Stormy meet up, and we'll do a live. And it'll only be 2 cameras.
Yeah,
but there'll be 4 of us on it.
And then we just change. And then we change cameras.
Why not? If you'd like, however you want to do it, I don't care. But anyway, I gotta go eat. starving hungry, and this was a brilliant day. A lovely, as always, guys. Thank you so much. Kevin McCabe, I know you've struggled to find the Battlestar Galactica episode. Just go into videos and scroll down, and it's the pictures of 2 Cylons, so you'll find it. He loves those books. Morgoth's ring sounds dirty. That sounds like that's a grown-up Lord of the Rings. But hey, next week we will have a proper topic. We will think of something. It's not because I was lazy and couldn't be bothered, so we just did a chatty video.
Because you couldn't be bothered and you're lazy. We all know that was the reason.
A little bit. So next week we'll think of something to talk about properly. So guys, thank you so much. Matt, thank you as always for joining. The young whippersnapper who can't get COVID, apparently, as always. Thank you so much, sir. My Sidetrack hoodie is on order. I can't believe I haven't got one, but it's starting to get cold now, so mine's on its way.
And again, thank you very much. I really do appreciate this.
You're very welcome. What else? Did you get your mug as well? I can't remember now.
No, this was just it.
No, I got you 2 things. The other thing hasn't come yet. I'm going to have to go back onto the website and check that I actually ordered 2 things.
Well, you didn't pay for the postage for one, so I mean, who knows?
Dang it.
It could still be rattling around a post office someplace.
It might do. So, right, okay. Right, I'll have a look. But anyway, guys, have a lovely one. Have a great week. Stay safe. Harris, stay away from anybody with a cough.
Yes, Harris, please do.
Running the other way.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the movie theater. I've been spending too much time there. I'll run away from them there.
Yeah, to be in a room with people coughing on each other with bad air conditioning sounds like a brilliant.
It's working so far.
Yeah, it is working so far. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you.
Very welcome. Y'all be good. Thanks for watching.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.